To Tungal online classes. Today we are going to discuss the new concept, that is refraction through the prism. Refraction through the prism. So refraction we studied in different cases. What is that? The first case is we studied refraction at the plane boundaries. Refraction at the plane boundaries or plane surface. Then after we studied the refraction through the single spherical refracting surface, there you derived one formula, mu2 by v minus mu1 by u is equal to mu2 minus mu1 by r. That is a standard formula for refraction at spherical refracting surfaces. Then after you consider the lenses which is having the two spherical refracting surfaces or at least one of the spherical refracting surfaces, there you studied refraction at two different refracting surfaces. Refraction at two different refracting surfaces. That is what we studied up to now. Now, today we are going to discuss about what? Refraction through the prism. Refraction through the prism. So, here what is the prism? So, first we are going to define what is the prism. Already we defined lens. What is the lens? It is a transparent material which is having the two refracting surfaces. At least one of the surface will be calling as a what? Spherical refracting surface. Similarly, here also we are going to define the prism. So prism is also a transparent material. Prism is also what? Transparent material. Whenever the light will be incident over the prism, that light will be undergoing the refraction. So what is the prism? Prism is a transparent material. It is a transparent material, which is having more refracting surfaces, more refracting surfaces, comma, when an incident light is when an incident ray was incident over the prism on one refracting surface, the emergent ray will be came out from another refracting surface. Such a type of refracting material we are calling as a what? A prism. Once again, see what is the definition of the prism. Prism is nothing but a transparent material. Prism is nothing but a transparent material which is having more number of refracting surfaces. Whenever any one of the light ray will be incident over the given refracting surface of a given prism, the emergent ray will be came out from the prism from the another refracting surface. Such a type of material will be calling as a what? Prism. So the prism will be in generally having two or more number of refracting surfaces. So remember this point. The prism may be having two or more number of refracting surfaces. But usually we are considering the prisms which are having two refracting surfaces, two refracting surface and one base. So through the base the light should not be going to be refracted. So that whenever you consider any one of the prism, see here, the prism will be represented by like this. So this is a prism. So in this given prism, it is having the two plane refracting surfaces. It is a what? Two plane refracting surfaces and one base will be existing. The refracted rays does not be passing through the base of the given prism. In this given diagram, let ABCD. So this is a three-dimensional diagram. So in this three-dimensional diagram, so this ABCD plane surface will be acting one of the plane refracting surface. Already we told in the general prisms what we consider in the laboratory, they will be having the three three plane surfaces. So out of three plane surfaces, so two will be the plane refracting surfaces, and the third one is calling as a what? Base of the prism. So in the given diagram, ABCD will be indicating what? First refracting surface. ABCD is indicating what? First refracting surface. And here ABEF, it is another plane refracting surface which is existed slantwise. So here ABEF will be indicating the second refracting surface. So that whenever you taken any one of the prism, for the given prism, usually it is having what? Two refracting surfaces, and through the base the light should not be going to be refracted. Now, whatever the two plane refracting surfaces we are saying, what are they? ABCD is one plane refracting surface, and ABEF is the another plane refracting surface. So the angle between first plane refracting surface and the second plane refracting surface will be calling as angle of the prism. Very important. How can we define the angle of the prism? Means the angle between the two plane refracting surfaces. The angle between the two plane refracting surfaces will be calling as angle of the prism. So the next definition is what? Angle of the prism. Angle of the prism. How we define the angle of the prism? The angle between two plane refracting surfaces of the given prism will be calling as what? Angle of the prism. The angle between two plane refracting surfaces, is called as angle of the prism, or sometimes it is also calling as refracting angle of the prism, or refracting angle of the prism. It is denoted by, angle of the prism will be denoted by capital A. Angle of the prism is denoted by what? Capital A. So how can we define the angle of the prism? So in the given prism, two plane refracting surfaces will be there, and those two refracting surfaces will be met at a line. So the angle between the two plane refracting surfaces, here we are calling as what? Angle of the prism. It is denoted by capital A. Next, if you look at the diagram, here already we told ABCD is one of the plane refracting surface, and ABEF will be the another plane refracting surfaces. These two plane refracting surfaces will be met along a straight line. That line will be calling as refracting edge. What is that? Refracting edge. So here in the given diagram, AB will be indicating what? Refracting edge. AB will be indicating what? Refracting edge. So how can we define the refracting edge? Means the line along which, the straight line along which these two plane refracting surfaces will be met together. Such a type of vertical line we are calling as what? Refracting edge. Next, another definition. Principal section of the prism. Principal section of the prism. How can we define the principal section of the prism? Means, see here, it is a three-dimensional representation of the given prism. So if we cut the prism perpendicular to the refracting edge, so that the cross section of the prism in a given plane will be calling as the cross section of the prism in a plane perpendicular to the refracting edge will be calling as principal section of the prism. Principal section of the prism. Once again, if you take a small slice, which is a perpendicular to the refracting edge, this small slice of the prism will be calling as the what? Principal section of the prism. So how can we define? It is the cross section of the prism. It is the cross section of the prism in a plane, which is perpendicular to the refracting edge, is called as the principal section of the prism. Is called as a what? Principal section of the prism. So like this we have to define the principal section of the prism. So this is the introduction part of the given prism. Once again, see, what is the prism? It is a transparent material. Which will be consisting of 2 or more number of refracting surfaces. That is the first point. Next, here, whenever you consider the 2 refracting surfaces, the incident light rays are incident on one of the refracting surface and the emergent ray will be collected from the another refracting surface. So here, whenever 2 refracting surfaces will be there, between the 2 refracting surfaces, some angle will be existing. So the angle between the 2 plane refracting surfaces will be calling as a what? Angle of the prism or refracting angle of the prism. Angle of the prism or refracting angle of the prism. Next, it is denoted by capital A. Next, here, one straight line will be there. So the line AB will be calling as a what? Refracting edge. How can we define the refracting edge? The line along which these 2 plane refracting surfaces will be in contact, that line will be calling as a what? Refracting edge. Next one, principal section of the prism. If you cut a small size, if you take a small slice from the 3-dimensional prism, that slice will be calling as a what? A principal section of the prism. How can we define it? It is a cross section of the prism. It is the cross section of the prism in a given plane and which is a perpendicular to the refracting edge will be calling as principal section of the prism. So this is the introduction part of the prism concept. Now we are going to derive the expression for refractive index of the prism. We are going to derive the expression for refractive index of the prism. It's a very important derivation. Okay. We are going to determine the refractive index of the given prism. So what's our aim is? We are going to derive the expression for the refractive index of the given prism. For that purpose, I consider a principal section of the prism. Already just now only we defined. How can we get the principal section of the prism? If we cut the prism in its plane, a small slice, small piece will be calling as a what? Principal section of the prism. See here, XYZ will be indicating what? The XYZ will be indicating the principal section of the given prism. XYZ will be indicating what? A principal section of the given prism. Next, whenever you consider any one of the prism, already I told, it is having the 2 refracting surfaces. It is having what? 2 refracting surfaces and the angle between the 2 given refracting surfaces is equal to what? Angle of the prism. So here, for the principal section of XYZ, XY will be the first refracting surface. XY will be indicating what? First refracting surface and YXZ will be indicating the second refracting surface. So for the principal section of the prism XYZ, it is having 2 refracting surfaces. The first refracting surface will be taken as a what? XY, and the second refracting surface will be taken as a what? XZ, and the YZ will be indicating the base of the prism. YZ will be indicating what? Base of the prism. So that whenever you consider the 2 refracting surfaces, between the 2 refracting surfaces some angle will be there. That angle we are indicating what? Angle of the prism. So that the angle at x is equal to A, which is indicating what? Angle of the prism. Capital A will be indicating what? Angle of the prism. And already we told whatever the prism you consider, that prism will be made with some material, so that this material will be having some refractive index, so that I am assuming that the refractive index of the given prism is equal to mu. So these are the assumptions what I was made to derive the expression for the refractive index of the given prism. Once again see here, what is the xyz principal section of the prism, and xy will be indicating the first refracting surface, and xz will be the second refracting surface, and A will be the angle of the prism. A will be the angle of the prism. Now see here, I am assuming that PQ will be the incidental light ray, PQ will be the incidental light ray which is incidenting on the refracting surface xy at the point Q. So what is the PQ there? PQ will be indicating what? Incidental light ray which is incidenting on the first refracting surface xy at the point Q. So whenever any one of the light ray will be incident on any one of the given refracting surface, we draw the normal perpendicular to its refracting surface, so that n1 will be indicating the n1 will be indicating the normal which is drawn to the refracting surface x and y. n1 is indicating what? The normal which is drawn onto the refracting surface xy, so that whenever you have a normal and incidental light ray, you measure the angle of incidence from normal to the incidental light ray. So in the given diagram, I will be indicating, or I will take I1. So I1 will be indicating the angle of incidence with respect to the first refracting surface, So here we are assuming that the light ray will be coming from the air medium to the denser medium, so that the light will be undergoing the refraction, As a result, the refracted light ray will be traveled within the refracting medium, so that here QR will be indicating what? QR will be indicating the refracted light ray. So PQ will be incidental light ray for which surface? XY surface. PQ will be the incidental light ray for the which surface? XY surface, and QR will be the refracted ray for the same medium, or for the same refracting surface x and y, so that I indicate the PQ will be the incident light ray and QR will be the refracted light ray. So from the figure, this refracted light ray will be making some angle with respect to the first normal. That angle of refraction will be denoted by R1. Angle of refraction was denoted by R1. Now this refracted light ray will be again incident. The refracted light ray will be again incident on the another plane refracting surface xz. So with what angle it was incidenting inside the prism? So with the angle of incidence is equal to what? R2, and the outcoming light ray RS will be calling as a what? Emergent ray. So here PQ will be indicating what? Incidental light ray, and RS will be indicating what? Emergent light ray. So the angle made by the emergent light ray with respect to the second normal will be calling as angle of emergence. So here I1 will be angle of incidence, I2 will be angle of emergence, R1 will be the angle of refraction for the first surface, and R2 will be the angle of refraction for the second refracting surface. Now already we know that whenever the light is traveling from one medium to the another medium, the light will be undergoing the deviation. See here, for the given principal section of the prism, PQ will be the incidental light ray. If this principal section or prism is not there, the incidental light ray will be traveling in this direction. So because of the prism was present, the light ray will be undergoing the refraction twice, and so it will be traveled along the final path R2s. So angle of deviation always to be measured in between the incidental light ray as well as the final refracted light ray. Angle of deviation will be measured from where to where? Incident path of the light ray to the final path of the refracted light ray. So this is the final path of the refracted light ray. This is the incident path of the incident light ray. So that here this angle will be indicating what? Delta will be indicating the total angle of deviation. Total angle of deviation. So that from the figure, delta will be giving what? Angle of deviation. Angle of deviation suffered by the incidental light ray PQ. So delta will be indicating what? The total angle of deviation which was suffered by the incidental light ray PQ. Now we are going to derive the derivation part. See here. See, if the angle of incidence value at a Q is equal to I1, so this total angle will be is equal to I1, but here some of the angle will be there R1, which is made by the refracted light ray with respect to the first normal. If you look at the diagram very clearly, this angle will be equivalent to I1 minus R1. So if you assume QMR will be the one of the triangle. So in that triangle, the angle at Q is equal to I1 minus R1. In the same triangle, the angle at R value is equal to I2 minus R2. So look at the diagram very carefully. So if you consider the small triangle, QMR will be the triangle. The angle value at the Q is equal to I1 minus R1, and the angle value at R value is equal to what? I2 minus R2. So now I consider the triangle. Triangle QMR. So according to the rules of the triangles, sum of the interior angles is equal to exterior angle. If you look at the diagram, I1 minus R1 comma I2 minus R2 are the two interior angles for the triangle QMR, and delta will be the exterior angle. According to the laws of the triangles, I will write sum of the interior angles is equal to what? What is the first interior angle? I1 minus R1. Second interior angle is equal to what? I2 minus R2, whose value is equal to delta. Sum of the interior angles is equal to what? Exterior angle. So from this I will write I1 minus R1 plus I2 minus R2. It can be written as I1 plus I2 minus R1 plus R2. Let it be equation number 1. So from the triangle QMR, I consider the sum of the interior angles is equal to exterior angle. So I1 minus R1 comma I2 minus R2 are the interior angles, and delta will be the exterior angle. So that I got the expression for the angle of deviation. Delta is equal to I1 plus I2 minus of R1 plus R2. So that is the first equation from the triangle QMR. Next. Again I consider the triangle QNR. So here in the triangle QNR, the angle at Q is equal to R1, angle at R is equal to R2, but I don't know the angle at N, so that angle will be assuming as a theta. So I don't know the angle which was existing at the point N, so that angle will be taken as the theta. So that from the triangle QRN, sum of all the angles in any triangle is equal to 180 degrees. From this I will write R1 plus R2 plus theta is equal to 180. So sum of the angles in a triangle is equal to what? 180 degrees. So that which triangle we consider? This bottom triangle will be considered triangle QNR. R1 plus R2 plus theta is equal to what? 180. Okay, next. Now I will consider quadrilateral XQNR. What I was consider here? Quadrilateral XQNR. In a given quadrilateral, sum of all the angles is equal to 360 degrees. Sum of all the angles is equal to what? 360 degrees. So in any given quadrilateral, angle at X plus angle at Q plus angle at n plus angle at r is equal to 360. So in a given quadrilateral, the sum of all the angles is equal to what? 360. So angle at x, angle at q plus angle at n plus angle at r is equal to what? 360. Angle at x, that is nothing but angle of the prism. So that the angle which was present at the x is equal to a, where a is indicating what? Angle of the prism. A is indicating what? Angle of the prism. Next, for the quadrilateral XQNR, so angle at q is equal to what? 90. Why? At the point q you draw the normal, so that qn will be perpendicular to the side xy. Qn will be what? Perpendicular to the side xy, so that the angle at q is equal to what? 90 degrees. Angle at q is equal to what? 90 degrees. Since it is the normal to the surface x and y, that's why the angle value at q is equal to what? 90 degrees. And angle at n, we assumed that is the theta. Next, angle at r is needed. For the surface xz, again n2 will be the second normal, so that the angle at r will be is equal to again 90 degrees. 90 degrees. That is equal to what? 360. From this, I will write a plus theta is equal to 180 degrees. A plus theta is equal to what? 180. 90 plus 90, 180. 180 will be going to the right side. 360 minus 180, that is equal to what? 180. So that you got the three different equations. One is angle of deviation delta is equal to I1 plus I2 minus of R1 plus R2. From the equation number 2, you got R1 plus R2 plus theta is equal to what? 180. And from the equation 3, you got A plus theta is equal to 180 degrees. See, from equation 2 comma 3, equation 2 comma 3, here R1 plus R2 plus theta is equal to 180. A plus theta is equal to 180. From those two equations, I will write from 2 comma 3. From 2 comma 3, I will write A plus theta is equal to R1 plus R2 plus theta. Theta, theta will be getting cancelled. So A is equal to R1 plus R2. So A is equal to what? R1 plus R2. What is the A here? Angle of the prism. R1 comma R2 are indicating the refracting angles. Now, from the equation 1, delta is equal to what? I1 plus I2 minus of R1 plus R2. So again, from 1 and 4, from the equations 1 comma 4, we will write angle of deviation delta is equal to, angle of deviation delta is equal to, here the first term will be remain same, that is I1 plus I2 minus, in the place of R1 plus R2, in the place of R1 plus R2, I will write a capital A. So this is the required equation for the total angle of deviation, which is suffered by the total incident light ray, that is which is incidenting on the given principal section of the prism, The next concept is a minimum deviation. How can we calculate the minimum deviation which is suffered by the incident light ray? So before going to that, we know the general concept. So when any one of the light ray will be traveling from one medium to the another medium, the light will be deviated from its original path. Such angle of deviation we are representing with the delta. So already we know one formula for the angle of deviation. Whenever the light is traveling from air medium or rarer medium to the denser medium, angle of deviation value is equal to delta is equal to I minus R. That means angle of deviation value will be depending upon the angle of incidence. If the angle of incidence value will be changes, angle of deviation is also what? Changes. So for different angle of incidences, you got the different angle of deviations. By taking all these values, if you draw a graph, that graph will be existing like this. So in this graph, at any angle of deviation, you will get two different angle of incidence values. Suppose let it be delta 1. At the angle of deviation of the delta 1, so you are getting the two angle of incidences. One is I1 comma I2. So in the prism concept, those angle of incidences we are taking as a what? First one is angle of incidence, second one is a what? Angle of emergence. Suppose if you take the angle of deviation delta 2 here, so here also you are getting the two different angle of incidence values are, one is angle of incidence, another one is what? Angle of emergence. But at a particular angle of deviation only, at a particular angle of deviation only, you are getting only one angle of incidence, only one angle of incidence. That a minimum angle of deviation, that a minimum angle of deviation at which angle of incidence value is equal to angle of emergence. At the minimum angle of deviation value, what you are getting, that I1 comma I2 values will be remain same. So that what we will said, whenever the light ray will be suffering the minimum deviation, whenever the light ray will be suffering the minimum deviation in the case of the prism, we will do I1 value is equal to I2 value. Only one angle of incidence value will be existing, so that at the angle of minimum deviation, what we will said, angle of incidence value is equal to what? Angle of emergence. So that at minimum angle of deviation, at a minimum angle of deviation, I1 value is equal to I2. I1 value is equal to I2. If I1 value will be is equal to I2, angle of refraction values also remain same. R1 value also to be taken as R2. So what is the condition for the minimum deviation? If the light ray will be suffering the minimum deviation while it is passing through the given prism, so at a minimum deviation, what we will write, I1 value is equal to I2 and R1 value is equal to what? R2. Already you know that delta is equal to one formula, I1 plus I2 minus R1 plus R2. This is the equation number 1 you taken initially. So angle of deviation delta is equal to what? I1 plus I2 minus of R1 plus R2. And you have one more relation for the angle of the prism, A is equal to R1 plus R2. A is equal to what? R1 plus R2. So angle of deviation is equal to I1 plus I2 minus of R1 plus R2. Angle of the prism is equal to R1 plus R2. At a minimum deviation, you told I1 is equal to I2 and R1 is equal to what? R2. Therefore, lambda minimum is equal to I1 plus I2. I1 is equal to I2 means that the value will be taken as 2I and here A is equal to R1 plus R2. So that this value becomes to be what? 2R. That value becomes to be what? 2R. So here R value is equal to what? R value is equal to A by 2. From this, A is equal to R1 plus R2. A is equal to what? R1 plus R2. From this, we will write A is equal to 2R. From this, R is equal to what? A by 2. So here, lambda minimum is equal to 2I. In the place of R1 plus R2, I will write capital A. From this, 2I is equal to A plus lambda minimum, or we will write A plus dm. Therefore, I is equal to what? A plus dm by 2. I is equal to what? A plus dm by 2. From this, you will get R is equal to what? A by 2. R is equal to what? A by 2. So, from the angle of minimum deviation, I calculated the values of angle of incidence as well as the angle of refraction. Now, I am applying the Snell's law of the refraction. What is the Snell's law of the refraction? Mu1 sin I is equal to mu2 sin R. Mu1 sin I is equal to what? Mu2 sin R. So, mu1 is the what? The refractive index of the medium where the incident light was present. Here we assumed that the light rays are coming from the air medium. For the air medium, refractive index value is equal to what? 1 and sin I is equal to mu2. Mu2 is indicating what? Refractive index of the medium where the refraction takes place. That value is anything but refractive index of the prism, and the remaining value is equal to sin R. Therefore, from the Snell's law you got mu is equal to sin I by sin R. Mu is equal to what you got? Sin I by sin R. So here only we are going to calculate. So that what value we need here? Refractive index formula. Therefore, mu is equal to sin of. What is the I value here? I value is equal to A plus dm by 2, where dm is indicating what? Angle of minimum deviation. So that sin of A plus dm by 2 by sin A by 2. So this is the required expression for the refractive index of the given prism. Standard formula mu is equal to what? Sin of A plus dm by 2 by sin A by 2. Next, small angled prisms. For small angled prisms. So which prisms we are calling as small angled prism means the prisms whose the refracting angle value will be less than 10 degrees. The prisms whose refracting angle of the prism or angle of the prism value will be less than 10 degrees. Such a type of prisms we are calling as what? Small angled prisms. Already we know that for the small angle sin theta value is equal to theta, tan theta value will be also equal to what? Theta. So for the small angled prisms, refractive index mu is equal to sin theta will be taken as a what? Theta. Therefore, a plus dm by 2 by a by 2. 2 will be getting cancelled. Therefore, mu is equal to a plus dm by a. If you cross multiply, you will get mu into a is equal to a plus delta we will took small angle of deviation. Therefore, angle of deviation for the small angled prisms. Angle of deviation for the small angled prisms will be given by delta is equal to mu minus 1 into a. So this is about the concept of prism. Okay.